Hello Exiles and welcome in. Remember to go ahead and like and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. You don't want to miss out on future content. I always bring a lot of new builds. I test a lot of new items. I like to mess around in path of building and just find a lot of off meta type builds. And sometimes I even play meta builds as well just to kind of do build reviews. So go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. And let's go ahead and get into the video. So as you guys saw, we did T17 and a T17 map boss. And we did it with cast while stunned. Unfortunately, I was unable to pull off a Vol Breach during this battle for some reason because there's just too much stuff going on that stuns you and causes your skills to go off so that your Vol Breach can't go off. So the point of that, showing that, was someone had commented that they wanted to see if you could do T17 or T17 map bosses. Primarily the build is made for Simulacrum and mapping, but I wanted to go ahead and kill a boss just to show how powerful it is. And essentially it's using your life as the defense, and when it's paired with the Defiance of Destiny, which gives you 37% of missing unreserved life before being hit by an enemy, you have an extraordinarily large health pool. This item compared with your HP pool becomes the defense, and of course we do have the mitigation of the Chieftain with Purity of Fire and having all of our resistances maxed out. Now the cool thing about this build is we're using the Apostate Kabbalist Regalia. Now this is a new item they added in this patch, which gives you maximum life instead of maximum energy shield. So this allows us to stack insane amounts of life without having to use Dissolution of Flesh. Now the thing with the Dissolution of Flesh, you got to do some weird tech, and it got to reserves your life, it got to recharge, you got to avoid getting hit and stuff like that. So you can't really do a cast while stun build or certain types of builds with the Dissolution of Flesh. However, when we do use just this chest piece, we're allowed to get high amounts of HP, and we can play other builds. We don't have to have our life reserved to reach those high levels of life. Now there are different variations of this build that you can do. You can do Righteous Fire, Fire Trap, Cast While Stunned. I mean, you can pretty much think of any build that you want that focuses on high life as a defense, and you could probably throw it into this build. So we're going to take a look at our skill tree, and essentially what we play is playing with the Adorn Jewel, of course, and we use a lot of jewels that give us maximum life, burning damage, and fire damage over time multiplier with life. Now I'm going to link the POE from my previous video. The previous setup with the cast while stunned is essentially simulacrum farming, map farming if you want to do 100% delirium mapping, if you want to do T17 mapping. If you want to do T17 bosses, I wouldn't recommend doing that because it takes forever. I would maybe carry a fire trap setup for bossing rather than just sitting there trying to take down the boss with cast while stunned. It just takes a long time, and it's just really time wasting. So if you're going to do the cast while stunned version, stick to simulacrums and mapping. T17 bosses will be a big pain in the butt unless you can get off a Vol Breach and all that stuff and the shenanigans and get a nice explodey on them. Then you maybe you can take them out. But the variation that I'm using now is Righteous Fire with the Fire Trap. Essentially I changed up once I got my Mage Blood. I was farming simulacrums and 100% delirium maps, and in my simulacrum I did get a 3 passive voice, which goes for like 300 divines. This allowed me to get some upgrades to my build, and so I was able to get a Mage Blood, and I also was able to get a new Helicio ring and Calandra's Touch, and I got a new helmet as well. Now this is kind of like just some Righteous Fire Fire Trap build here with the Apostate. Now the other option is you can always switch out your gear if you want to do the cast while stunned. You just want to sit in simulacrums and not have to press anything. You can focus on your cast while stunned build. So essentially with each gear piece you're crafting on life and energy shield. So usually I recommend getting, since you're going to be using energy shield bases, I would look for fractured life on these items. And they're pretty cheap because fractured items are pretty cheap. At least when I bought these were not very expensive. And you just get your fractured life on each item, and then you can spam your essences on those. So if you need dexterity, you can use a dexterity essence. I do recommend using strength. Um, if you can afford this, if you can afford to have strength without meeting your requirements for dexterity for certain jewels or gems. So you spam your essences, or you can do harvest craft with defenses, and you just try to get high energy shield, maximum energy shield. Same here. I just got the dexterity for. See, this one was I did an essence of woe, and it just hit really good. So I would have preferred if I had higher strength. Higher strength would be better, but I just get, for some reason, I just get the good rolls without strength. So each piece you want to have life and energy shield, and that is because of the apostate. This allows you to get your even more life from all the energy shield rolls that you do get on your items. Now, if you do not have a mage blood, you'll be using the Stygian Vice or leather belt with the hunter mod on it, so that you can get increased maximum life, chaos resistance, and some extra life. The 8% increased attributes is not something you actually need, nor is the armor. It was just one of the cheapest options that was on the market, and I just bought it. But if you want to get better rolls until you can get a mage blood, this is probably the one you can use. Mage blood is more so convenience, so that you can move fast and have everything up without having your flasks, going off. Now the thing is with this build is, with this, and then you get your flash charges, gain 3 charges when you're hit. If you're using this belt, you always have your flask up anyways. But with this is more quality of life with movement, and yeah, it's just quality of life. You could probably get away with this belt for anything that you want to do in the game. Mage blood is definitely not required for the build. This is the ring I was using before the Helicial ring. I was just getting some high life and chaos resistance. And before I got the Calandra's Touch, I was using these two. And then when I used the cast while stunned, I used the Vigour. Because they did change on the passive tree, they changed the stun threshold off of the passive to an actual item. Kind of sucks, but at least it still works. At least they didn't completely remove cast while stunned build. That would be so sad, because it's one of my favorite builds, especially for Simulacrum. I pretty much make all of my money in Simulacrum almost every league playing cast while stunned. Ever since I started playing cast while stunned with the Pathfinder, with the Beacon of Madness boots that I showcased that with. You guys remember that? That was way back, a couple patches. But ever since I found that cast while stunned build, I play it every league just to farm Simulacrums. Rational Doctrine you can use if you're not using Flask for your consecrated ground. And it kind of just depends. If you need the life regen, if you're you could use Annihilation's Approach if you want to get more speed, a little bit more damage with Adrenaline. But you can kind of combo those together, and essentially in your path of building, wherever you are in your build, whether you're beginning, entry level, middle level, or high end, you just want to make sure your life regen is net positive, and you want to have at least a decent amount. I would say at least 1,000, just to be safe. And yeah, this is our skill tree. We do use a Piranha's Pact. Now this combined with the Unnatural Instinct double dips and gives us a lot of extra fire damage. For some reason in Path of Building it doesn't show the Piranha's Pact working yet. So you just have to count up all the little nodes and then multiply it by 6 to get your actual increased fire damage, and then you can just add that in to the Path of Building to see what your damage is. For the clusters, I'm using, I just bought this today and I was just trying it out, see how much more life I can get. The strength ones were just like 40, 60 div, and I just didn't want to, it was just very expensive. I had to choose between that and some other items. I'd rather just get other items for now. Maybe I can roll these jewels, cluster jewels myself, and in the meantime you can use ones like this, an 8 passive, or even ones like this if you just don't have a lot of currency. And of course you can use a lot of the burning damage jewels as well if you don't have fire damage over time multipliers. Now we do play with blood magic, just because we want to get 10% more maximum life. I just want to get as much life as possible on the build, so I do use blood magic. But there are some other options. You could not use blood magic and possibly use some more auras. You know, there's different ways you can play the build. You don't have to necessarily go blood magic. Um, use malevolence. You just gotta decide how you want to play. Do you want to try to get the most life possible, or do you want to try to have some armor? I mean, it's really hard to get armor. You would have to probably use a mage blood with a flask, because we're using all energy shield based items. So it's really hard to get armor and try to focus on armor, so it's not really needed. Um, you can opt to get physical damage from his taking his fire damage. You can use a Watcher's Eye to get additional damage taken as fire. With your helmet, you can get the Exarch and the Syrian Eater of Worlds mods on it to get more physical damage taken away, stuff like that. So if you feel like you're having trouble with physical damage, you can also change that up. But on the build with the items that it did have, I never had any trouble with physical damage. Most of the stuff that really got me was all the ailments and stuff on me, and of course degens. And the biggest thing that would kill me, that pretty much the only thing that could kill me, was the critical strikes and crit multiplier, because I have no reduced critical damage. So that paired with no armor allows for them to just like hit you for huge damage, and it's just one of the things that you gotta build for. So that would be the next thing that I'm actually going to upgrade today, is reduce critical damage taken. I'm probably going to get a Watcher's Eye, and yeah, probably a Watcher's Eye will be the route to get just a little, you know, get some reduced. No, I can't get a Watcher's Eye because I don't have determination. I don't know. I think I may have to level up and reallocate some points here and try to get some reduced critical damage, because that is the only thing that really kills me, and that's usually in Simulacrum, because that critical damage is just insane. And sometimes in Simulacrum you do, I usually carry a fire trap just in case one of the bosses is left over and they have a fair bit of HP, because with Cast While Stun, it just takes forever to kill these bosses, especially if there's like a fire resistance mod on them. And of course, even if you have fire trap, it's going to take a little while. So make sure you kill the bosses all in the packs, all together with all the monsters, and don't get unlucky, because it just makes you have to pull out a fire trap and it takes a little bit longer. Yeah, this is the build, Apostate build, and I think it's a really fun build if you have like high life. And yeah, in the path of building with this build, it's the EHP doesn't really give its justice, right? You guys, so try not to focus too much on EHP, because it's just kind of an estimated. You got to also keep in mind of things like recovery, Defiance of Destiny, how that works, and of course your life pool and how that works. So you would look in the calculations, see your max hits that you can take, and then you can kind of build from there. And yeah, oh yeah, Taste of Hate as well, another 14% physical damage. So yeah, this is the build here. Pretty much everything, like all the gear outside of the ring, the helmet, and I would say the adorned. Those are probably the most expensive things. You can probably get a lower adorned, like 100, 109, 110 for a lot less. Maybe 2.5 divines, 3 divines. But for the most part, most of this gear, you can just get the fractured bases, and you can just craft it up yourself. Very easy to make. When I first started this build, I had hardly any currency. I had like maybe 15, 20 divs, and I just went into it, and I got the Apostate. I got everything I needed, gems. Very inexpensive to start, because nobody's really playing the Apostate. Nobody really talks about it. From what I've heard people saying they want to build around it, but nobody's really brought it to the limelight where it's like really expensive. So you can pick these up pretty cheap on trade. And yeah, that is the build. And guys, remember, hit the like and comment below if you're going to try the build. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, guys, because I do make a lot of content. I try to bring a lot of builds for you guys and a lot of information. And a lot of times I just play off meta, and I just try to find unique things that I want to play and have fun with. And I think that'll do it, guys. I think that's all the information I have for you guys on this build. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm missing anything. Alright, well, that's it. Okay, guys, well, until next time, peace out, and have a great rest of your day. Take care, and I thank you for your patience if you've watched this long, and I thank you for watching the video. Take care.